LP family, happy Thursday. We are so happy to be here with you today. I'm Lisa and this is Emily. And if you haven't joined us on Sunday mornings, we've been hosting Sunday mornings.
Yep.
And so we get to host on Thursday today and we're super excited to be here with you.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So you'll have to bear with us today. Sunday mornings are a little more scripted than Thursday. And so today we are here on LP Hangout just to do exactly that, to hang out with you. So join us on Facebook or on our new platform at lp.church and give us some comments, a little shout out, tell us what you're doing on this beautiful Thursday. And we'd love to highlight those comments and talk with you, chat with you, interact. So join us and make yourself known today.
Yep. Yeah, so we've been having a lot of fun doing the Sunday morning thing, which was kind of neat because we started the online, more, I guess, fully online during the quarantine and all of that. So we've been having a blast. So we were excited to be here today. So what do you think about all of that, the online and the transition to the Sunday morning, like hosting? And I just think it's a really cool element to the worship.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. We had actually, when John talked to us about doing it, he sent us some videos from some other churches that use kind of the same platform and the same format. And so we were able to watch like Elevation Church, for example, and kind of see what their hosting looks like. And I was super excited to try it.
It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of fun. And I think it adds to the service. Like I've heard from different people that, they just feel like it's more interactive and it's not just watching something on TV. Like you feel like you're still a part of the service, you know, having to be separated in the quarantine and all of that. But I love that we're still doing it, even though the church doors are open now. We're continuing that, and hopefully it'll grow. And
so, ladies, we have a comment here.
Okay.
We got a comment here from Gabe Ross. Hey, ladies.
Hey, Gabe.
So before we got on the air, the ladies were sharing a story with me that they said I tried to tell them not to, Gabe, but they said they wanted to share it. So apparently your mic was still on, and you were singing la-di-da-di-da, la-di-da-di-da before the service on Sunday, and in their in-ears they could hear you.
It was fantastic.
And so, no, I just wanted to make sure that they mentioned that for you. So
Thanks.
Yes.
Thanks,
Zach.
I do what I can.
Yeah. Well,
So,
it was fantastic.
Let me ask you guys a question, because you guys have been great at doing the pre-show. So what was it? I mean, what was the reaction from people the first time? I know my reaction was I was unsure about it. Like it felt different to me. It wasn't something I'd ever seen or done before. And so what was the reaction you guys got from the church family and from everybody else after that first Sunday when we did that?
I don't know. Everything I heard was really positive. They felt like the people that I heard it made them just feel like they were part of the service rather than, like I said before, just sitting at home and kind of watching something on TV. It's a familiar face. So that's kind of what I heard the whole time. And I feel like it's gotten better every week. I think that we've gotten more comfortable. And so It just lets you kind of see a bit of who we are, but just gives you some personality to the church.
Right.
Like who the church really is, because the church is the people. And so you're not just seeing a service, but that's just kind of the things that I've heard from people.
Yeah, I agree. I think the comments that I've heard have been positive so far. People do like having a face and even having that little recap of the week before that we try to throw in there to kind of remind you where we were, especially, in a series, and then a little bit of, just a hint of what's to come during the day. So it kind of gets you focused, especially in these days when we're at home and worship is at home and you're, trying to make sure everybody's fed and maybe the kids are in another room quiet, or they're in your room quiet, or, the dog's been let out or whatever. It just kind of brings you together and gets you into that place. It's like sitting in your seat at church, a little bit before the service starts. It puts you in that right mindset. So
yeah, and to that, I heard from a lot of our friends, like in small group and stuff, that are just like, I haven't seen you in so long, and I love seeing your face. And I think that's really important because we miss each other and we miss community, and it's really, really hard to just Zoom all the time or
Right.
not be able to see each other. So to be engaged like that in a church service has been excellent.
Yes.
And I'm really excited about what's to come too.
And to clarify my position on that, John Evans with a comment, the host team as a whole has been awesome, and they have. And so just to be, just so, I was proved wrong very quickly as I went home the first Sunday, and I was like, so what'd you think about that? Talking to my wife, and I expect her to be like, yeah, not kind of, not real traditional. She was like, I love it. I was like, well,
Awesome.
I do too then, apparently. No, I'm kidding. I really do. It's been really cool to see it, and you guys do a great job with it, and it really just it engages people. It's real. It's your real. You said earlier it was scripted, and in a way it is, but there's a lot of that it's your script. You guys are writing it, and so it allows your heart for Jesus to be revealed, and truly the impact that the message has on you guys is probably the same that it's had on someone else, and for people to be able to connect with that and to really kind of deeper dive into that with you guys on that Sunday morning thing. It's been really cool to watch. And so I really do enjoy it. Richard O'Cobb says, I, for one, love the host time. Richard, you're not alone on that, buddy.
Thanks, Richard.
So let me ask you guys another question then. What, we've made a big, significant investment at this church in the broadcast and in the Facebook Live and the quality of all that stuff. And I know there's a fine line there, right, between too much production and too much whatever. And so as we've walked that line, I mean, I Gabe and John do a fantastic job leading us, obviously. But what has been you guys' biggest, I don't know, you guys aren't necessarily there during all the midweek stuff and all the times that we're trying to get the cameras right and doing that. So I'm interested to hear, what are your thoughts on the strides that we've taken from from that live stream side and how that's kind of impacted people throughout this coronavirus deal?
I have been amazed, blown away by our tech team and everything that has happened. If you've not been in the building, you have completely missed a transformation. The first week that we were here, that we did the live stream, we were just kind of in the middle of chairs, and everything was, wires were going everywhere. And just in 2 weeks' time, we have a broadcast booth. We have, we went from 1 week, there was a wood shop in the lobby when we came in on a Sunday morning to the next week. Things are complete and finished and look great and function great. And then all of this, equipment, I'm amazed by how all of this works. And, my brain can't even wrap around all of that. So to see the changes and for the church to be committed to give us this, way to gather, even when we can't gather, has been awesome. So
I mean, because they didn't have to, and it's just been a tireless effort for all of you to love us and to love the Lord so much, to want to put in that much effort and that much time, because you didn't have to. It didn't have to be done that way, and I think that it's just amazing, and it just is a huge testament to this church and what a blessing it is. And obviously we're not the only church that has done that, and I think it's just fantastic because we've heard over and over and over again that we don't have to be in a church to worship. We can be at home and we can be in our community. And so for LifePoint to be able to put it out there like that, so that we can freely do that and we can be a part and be built up during the week, I love it. And if I'm honest, I don't really want it to stop.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it is a huge effort, and I know that, as we're getting back into church and stuff, things might change, but it's just been great to connect throughout the week and just to really feel like you're a part of that whole body. So
for sure.
So thank you guys, to all of you, the tech team and the staff and everybody who's just made that possible, because it's awesome. Yeah. Well,
and the reality is that it's there's some work that's been put in, and that wasn't the point of the question, certainly, but more along the lines of having a leadership team that values and understands the value, the importance of that, right? I mean, and the ability to take the gospel and use social media and to reach more people for the kingdom. And that investment is oftentimes difficult for churches because you walk that line, right? And so it's been a real blessing for us as people that have just come to LifePoint, my wife and I, right? To be a part of a team with a leadership group that is so dedicated to that. So it's been really cool. So we have another question here for you guys from Richard. What has been your blooper moment? And I want to lead with one, and then I'll let you guys share yours. But mine was this last Sunday, as you guys will remember. I didn't put the right sound input into the live stream, and for the first 5 or 10 minutes of your hosting, they were listening to me because I had the computer audio on at the broadcast desk, and so they were listening to me instead of you guys. And so for me, that's from that perspective, that was a pretty big blooper. But you guys haven't made many mistakes. So what would you say is your biggest blooper moment?
I think day one pre-service was, I think, my biggest blooper. I stumbled over my words a lot. I think I said Lisa Sari or something like that when I introduced you. But I don't know. It's been pretty easy because I think because you and I have such a good connection, we just kind of play off each other, and then if we make a mistake, one just picks up after the other. So what about you? What do you feel like?
I would say our bloopers are things that hopefully haven't been noticed on camera because it is things like so we do get together, and this has been the fun part for me of this whole thing is we have been getting together once a week and getting everything together for Sunday. So we kind of go through what we need to talk about, and we write a script. It's a pretty loose script because we've ad-libbed. We've learned to ad-lib and pick it back up. But so we have a script, and we know that host 1 is supposed to say this and host 2 is supposed to say that. But every once in a while, we'll switch up or get confused, or one of us will finish a sentence, and so we'll switch the host 1 and host 2. So hopefully that's, I think that's probably been the biggest. Honestly, most of our bloopers have been while we're writing, and luckily there are no cameras there because we had actually just discussed that today. Yeah, we're thankful that there are no cameras there while we're preparing, and we're hoping that we don't say anything today that will get us in trouble or create a blooper on camera. So
well, it has been a lot of fun, but I think I agree with you, like everything's kind of been seamless. I mean, but it is easy because we write it, it sounds like us, and so
and because there is so much, like the technology is crazy. I can remember I did like news stuff when we were in high school, and it was literally somebody standing behind you with a poster board, and if they had it upside down or the wrong thing or whatever, this is like there's an iPad, and our Word document is on the iPad, so it's kind of dummy proof.
And Gabe saying that I think quarantine has proven that sharing Christ everywhere is a necessity. Digital content is here to stay, and reaching people far from Christ in this age has to include online and accessible teaching and community. And the platform he's talking about is so accurate. And a lot of churches have the desire to do it, but maybe not the budget or maybe not the whatever. And so we're super blessed in having such faithful people to give and to want to help the church in pursuing that different digital ministry, if you will. So one question I do have for you guys: so you guys were the first host, and you guys are you've been with us. I mean, we got you guys in a routine over and over again, and it's gotten a lot better, and it's great. I mean, you did great the first time, but really the second time, that second Sunday you guys were here, it was natural, and from then on it's been great. So what is it like now that we're adding new hosts to the stables, and you guys are kind of interacting with them, and we're watching them take their first Sunday, the Sunday that you would call your blooper, right? So like we're watching their blooper every week now because we got new ones coming in. What's that interaction like? Training them, teaching them, like how's that been going?
I don't know. I think it's been kind of easy, but it's hard to explain. It's hard to explain how you just have to be yourself. And I think that because you're nervous, you want it scripted. I mean, I know that's how I felt the very first time. I want it scripted out. I want to say it exactly right. And if I veer from what it says, then it's wrong. And so then I feel bad about myself. But I think it's been fun, and everybody's been really receptive and, just excited. And I'm looking forward to kind of getting to know everybody through all of that. So, but I mean, when they come and kind of observe us, which I think is kind of funny. We're such goofballs. But,
when they observe and they don't know what's going on, they probably look at us like crazy people because we're running around like chicken with our heads cut off. It's crazy.
And joking and being silly and messing up. And I think that that's the best part. I love how it worked out the groups where they're paired together, they kind of already know each other, and so they have a relationship. They know how to play off of each other.
Yes.
And we've told them to kind of use that and remember that we're really just having a conversation with you guys, and we're having a conversation with each other, and that's been the biggest thing that we've told them.
Yeah.
We don't stress the small stuff, and if you mess up, we're just people.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a great team, lots of energy, and so yeah, look for those newer faces soon.
It's going to be fun to see them. And I know last week we got to watch Andrea and Robin, and I thought they did so good, and they were so funny because when you get off and you take the it shuts down and you move the microphone, your whole body just goes, I'm done, I did it. And then you do the post service, and it's like you've been doing it forever.
Yes.
And it's just really cool to see them do that, and then to see people step out in a different way to serve.
Right.
That's cool too.
And to your point, you're right. As long as you only mess up, 2 times, third strike, you're out. No, I'm kidding. So Richard, with another question before we get there, and that'll probably be our last question today. But John made a comment here that the production team, specifically Luther, Noah, Anthony. I mean, these guys we've thrown so many impossible. I mean, he's the smartest guy in the room.
Yeah.
When it comes to this tech stuff, I mean, he's going to forget more than I'll ever know. He already has, right? And so, I mean, he is old. But we've thrown scenario after scenario at him and just said, hey, can you figure out a way to make this happen? And without fail, he's been able to do it. And so Noah doing a great job. And it's just awesome to watch everybody work together and figure this out. So
it really is.
Last question here for the Hangout today. How has doing this, the pre-host stuff, opened you guys up and made you aware to the vulnerability that's required, being vulnerable in that moment and sharing your I mean, because that's raw, that's real. I mean, you guys have a chance to process it and you write it down and all that, but certainly you're stepping out in front of your church family and saying, hey guys, this is our heart on this. And so how has doing this made you either better or more aware or whatever in regards to that?
Yeah, so I think the post service is probably
Yes,
where
what I
we've
was
been
thinking
most
too.
aware of how vulnerable we are. And because, I think we've each had different services where the emotion just hit us. And it was even services before there was anybody else in the building. And it was just so powerful. And to have to come on camera after that and, like you're wiping your eyes and you're trying to make sure you don't have anything on your face and trying to just collect yourself and collect your thoughts and to be honest about what God has done in you in that moment or what you're feeling, what you took away from the service. I'm even sometimes like a little bit afraid to say what I took away in the service just because I don't want it to be wrong. What if I got something that, and I know there's not anything wrong that comes out of it, but you have that thought of what if that's not right? And so, I think the post service is where that vulnerability just comes out and where we're most aware that there are eyes on me and people watching me and listening to what I say. And because we don't know we know kind of the topic of the message beforehand, but we've not heard the message. So we are taking notes like crazy and really listening closely and paying attention in the service, which has been a benefit of it as well because
absolutely
because we've really zoned in and focused and paid attention so that we can bring that kind of summarize that for you afterwards. So
and that part's really hard. I was thinking the exact same thing, the post service, because the beginning you're kind of we're giving more information about the day and about what's to come and what did come, and then after it truly is even when we write it, it just says response to service, and so it is our genuine response to the service. And so sometimes when we're speechless and we really don't know what to say and we're just standing there going, wow, that's really our response, we don't know. And I think it's been a blessing for me to be able to share my heart after the services and just it kind of lets everybody else get to know us a little bit better, and to show that during that This Is My Story series, we have stories, and our response to those, you kind of got to see a little bit into our emotion. Even if you didn't hear every bit of our story, you kind of saw how we responded to those things. So I think it's been really good. And it's made it more comfortable. And again, it's just opening up like that and being vulnerable and sharing. I think it helps other people be able to do the same thing. So
Yeah.
Well, and I think there's obedience in that. There is an obedience in, in taking your reaction to the gospel and sharing it with. I mean, there's nothing about the gospel that's a solo race, right? Like our walk with Christ is. There's nothing about it that's to be done individually, right? Except for obedience, and so in that path of obedience, like sharing and whether it's with your husband, with your wife, with your brother, with your sister, like sitting down and having that time to process out loud what God's doing through the church, through the message in your heart, whatever. Like that's something I feel like we need to be doing, and so it's been really cool to watch you guys do it. I get to hide behind the computer, except for today, but I get to hide behind the computer most days, and so it's been nice to watch you guys do that, obviously. But it brings that awareness to, like, man, I need to be willing to, because you guys are doing this in obedience. So yes, you enjoy it, yes, but the first phone call you got was probably like, I don't know about that, right? And so there's some obedience, and there's a lot of obedience in that, and I think it's such a good thing to take away from this is, like, as you walk through life as a believer, as a follower, like processing what's happening in your heart is probably the hardest part of the day to day, right? Because you don't. There's a lot of ambiguity when you can't, like, everybody says, I hear from God, or I heard, or what, like, but I've never heard it. Like, he's never spoken to me, like, hey, Zach, like, you don't hear that, right?
That would be
and
nice, though.
It would, and I would,
I'm
hopefully,
open to that, God.
I'm looking forward to that one day, certainly. So, all right, ladies, well, it's about time to wind this up. I'm gonna come back to you guys, give them a solid see you later, and we'll get on out of here, okay?
Okay.
Y'all have a great rest of your week.
Thanks for joining us.
See ya.
Bye, guys.
Bye.